Hey, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for coming along and joining me for this video. It's going to be really fun. I thought we would do a live Q&A hangout video just to go over any questions you've got for Rogue Warriors. And we've got loads planned for the future. So I thought this would be a good time to catch up, let you know what you can expect for the next month or so ahead, and then just answer any questions. And as you're waiting for questions to come in, what I'll do is I'll just start flicking through the books and just talking a little bit about each one and just explaining what Rogue Warriors is all about, and also having a look at the expansions. Oh, the adverts just come on my video. Hopefully you can all hear me. Let's check. Yep, the sound's going through, so that's great. So yeah, brilliant to see you here. And if you've got any questions at any time, just add them to the live chat, and then I'll just work through them one at a time as best I can. Great to see you here. Go for it painting. Joe Wood, Sappercap, Loxtail. That's awesome. Thanks for letting me know you can hear. That's great. And we've got some questions already from the Facebook group from Simon. So I'll be addressing those as we work through as well. Let's get that camera a bit closer. That's better. Yeah, that's better. Great. So here we go. So this is Rogue Warriors. This is the main book in the series, and this is the book that we started with. And we're also going to have a look at Tiger Blood, which was the first narrative campaign, and then Ungentlemanly Warriors. And this is where you'll find any solo rules. And so we introduced the solo and co-op play in this book. But let's have a look with Rogue Warriors first. Great to see you here, Wedge. Thanks for joining us. Awesome. So here are Rogue Warriors, the modern warfare skirmish game. And the main thing with this game, the mission behind it really, was to come up with something that was easy to learn and easy to teach, and present it all in a concise rule set. So I love skirmish games, but sometimes it can be a bit wordy. There can be a lot of rules. And a lot of the time, you don't really need to use all the rules, certainly when you're starting. So with Rogue Warriors, we put together a pretty small book, and that was a challenge in itself, trying to get the rules into a small book. It's kind of easier to write a big, thick book with lots of rules and lots of words, but trying to get it down so it's concise, easy to learn, so you can get playing really quickly. But I think more importantly, a game that's easy to teach is fun, because then you can take it to your game club and get playing quite quickly and get people into the game and enjoying themselves really fast. So that was the main thing behind it. With Rogue Warriors, this introduces the core rules. And then the idea with the whole system is that we've got all the other campaign expansions that then kind of adds complexity to it. So if you want more from the game, then you can certainly add more to it using the other books. So if you wanted to do a campaign game, for example, you would get something like Tiger Blood. That's going to give you the campaign rules. And then if you want to play solo, you've got Ungentlemanly Warriors. But not everyone wants to do that. So if you just want some pickup games to play like one-offs, then the core book's going to give you all that. And then if you want to add more to it, you're going to have lots of options with the expansions. And so we've got loads more expansions to come. Each month, we're going to be releasing one more expansion, at least one a month. I'm not going to set a date on it. I find that just kind of almost takes away the creativity a bit. But the plan is to get one every month out there. So you're going to have loads of games to play, loads of content, and then also lots of additional rules, new ways to play, special rules, things like adding vehicles to it and that kind of thing. So lots to look forward to. Great to see you here, John and Jack. That's awesome. Nice. I'm glad that's come across like that. So that's good to hear. Thank you. So yeah, we've got loads more to come. And we're also going to be introducing this week what we call the one-shots. So these are going to be single missions, and these are going to be free to download, and they're going to be linked to the Warriors of the Week. So if you saw the first one we did, that was this model here, Indie Bones. And so that's free to download as well. There we go. And that's thanks to our friends at Hayland Terrain, which is really great. They've given us loads of miniatures that we can put out these new Warriors of the Week each week. And then we're going to link them to one-shot missions. John, oh yeah, he tried to work out. It's a lot. It's a lot. I swear it's over 1 million different combinations. It's a lot of combinations when you go through that mission builder table. It's insane. So yeah, you can get a lot out of it. Never play the same mission again. And then when you combine that with the tables that I put out for free that you can download on the website, you can get those solo prompts. You combine that with a mission table, it gives you even more options. So yeah, that mission table is only one page, but the combinations you can get from it are immense. So lots of opportunities there to come up with some really cool ideas. And if you do that and design your own mission, it'd be awesome if you come over to our Facebook group and share that so we can all see it. And I've put a link in down below in the description, so you can find that link really easily by recognizing the names here. Great to see you, Ken, and lots of names here who are there already. But if you're not, be awesome if you come and join us on the Facebook group and share what you're up to. And another thing that we're going to start doing now this week are the battle reports. So we're going to start with a demo game. So we'll do a demo for Rogue Warriors, and then we'll also start doing some demos for the solo rules so you can see them in action. So I've done a little introduction video just explaining how the rules work. But I think when you see it in a game and you can see it played out in real time, I think you can get a lot from that. And then if there's anything in there that's not quite making sense, hopefully that will help just to convey how all the rules work. But we've got a question on the AI movement, actually. So that's from Simon on Facebook. So maybe we could just quickly cover that one now. So I've got the AI charts here, and this is for the alarm phase. So in solo, if you're not familiar with it yet, there's 2 phases to it. You've got like a sneaky, stealthy phase, and there you use the sentry cards. And then when you go into the alarm phase, that's replicating then almost like a regular player versus player game, but using the AI charts to control the enemy. So with the sentry phase, the enemy all move along set paths on the maps and they'll follow those routes. But in the alarm phase, they're going to go all over the place. So Simon had a question about the AI movement, and he said, when rolling to see which direction to move based on the star system of movement die, the AI charts say to move to cover and stay in weapons range. And if moving in the direction suggested and there's no cover, do we continue to move in that direction, ignoring the cover part of AI chart, leaving them wide out in the open? Or is this a case of us overriding and then seeing what is the most logical cover position to move to? So with the AI charts, you move the enemy where you think the best direction is. So you could use the directional dice and make it random. But I find if you play in the alarm phase, you can move them where you think the best position is going to be. So the idea with the melee is they're the ones that are going to push forward and put pressure on you as the player. So they're going to charge towards the player warriors, close them down and try and restrict their movement. Whereas the shooting AI, they're going to try and stay back, remain in shooting range, but then apply pressure from like shooting attacks. So melee are going to physically kind of try and restrain you and control movement, where shooting are going to try and take some damage. And then of course when melee getting close to you, that's when the brutal combat takes place and only one warrior is going to walk away after that. So yeah, so you basically move them where you think is best. And if there's no cover, then you might want to move them out of weapon range. So you can certainly come away from this to get them into a better position. Maybe you would think as a player that it's obvious what your warriors are going to do. Maybe they're going to move in a certain direction. And then so you could almost get ahead of that with the AI and move them to a better position that comes away from some of these rules. So I would say use this as a guide. This is the way it's going to flow, but certainly be flexible and ready to improvise when you're moving the AI and using the charts here. So hopefully that answered the question. But let's keep flicking through the book. And if you've got any questions, add them in the live chat and we can just take them one at a time as they come through. So the idea with Rogue Warriors is it's miniature agnostic and you can play it in any modern warfare setting. So era and theatre of war agnostic too, which makes it really flexible. You can play it across desert, urban environments, jungle, all sorts. And the next campaign we've got coming out is called Tour of Duty. That's going to be a Vietnam jungle-based campaign. So that's going to be really cool with some new rules. And in that one, we're looking at adding things like booby traps and asymmetric teams. So if that's something you're interested in, maybe going up against a bigger enemy, then that's where you're going to start to see that being introduced to the game. And like all the expansions, those rules can be applied to the core book. So you could use the core book, take the rules from the expansions, and then come up with your own missions. So although we're going to focus on the Vietnam era, the rules in it could be applied to anything. You could go more modern in Afghanistan, for example, and use those rules, or you could go back to the World War II era too. So you've got lots of different options with how it works. And then we'll introduce maybe some new expertise and specialists that come away from the core rules a little bit and just give you some more options. And then what we tend to do in the expansions is just take the weapons from the core book, which are pretty generic. And so that works. Then you can apply it to the different eras. And then what we'll do is we'll theme the weapons to that era. So we got some questions. Thanks for joining us, Myths Rando stuff. And Jack, tunnel rats would be good. Yeah, could certainly involve that for sure. I've got an idea where you don't know where the enemy's going to pop up, and that will kind of simulate the tunnels. So that's going to be an interesting mechanic that's certainly going to add to it. So yeah, look out for those kind of rules. So that's going to be interesting, and I think just it's going to add something completely different to what we've seen so far. And then if you combine that with the solar rules as well, we might add some more like sentries in there, so start layering up each of the games. So more different sentry rules perhaps, so that then you can just port that into the sentry phase, and that will really work with the theme. What's this? John's used to play a Vietnam style minigame called Recon. I'll have to check that out. Nice one. Yeah, awesome. But I don't know if you remember, with Ungentlemanly Warriors, the sentry phase and the alarm phase is influenced by a game I used to play on my Commodore Amiga called Commandos. They had two games. One was Commando and one was Commandos. And Commandos was a World War II game where I think you'd only take about 3 or 4 commandos, and one would be a grenadier, one would be demolitions, and you'd have to sneak around the map. And if you got caught, the enemy would shout alarm, alarm, and then it would go into a proper battle then. But it was all about stealth, that game. So that's really influenced Ungentlemanly Warriors and the solo rules, and great fun to play it out on the tabletop too. All right, let's get back to this. So yeah, the core rules, ways to play. So this is all focusing really on player versus player. And once you start going into things like Ungentlemanly Warriors, that's when you can introduce the co-op. And then all your core rules, you're just going to be the same. And then we'll just start introducing maybe some new actions and things like that. Like we did with Tiger Blood, we introduced the search action as well. So we can just start getting these little features into the games. Order of play and the starter missions are generally the same. Oh, let's have a look. Hey Joe, great to see you here for the solo game. Have you thought about a deck of cards that could randomize the actions? Cool. Yeah, that's a cool idea. Definitely, that would be really fun. So yeah, you could just draw it and then you don't know what they're going to do. Certainly in the alarm phase, it would be fun to introduce some mechanics to make it a bit more interesting as well. Because I think once you play it out a few times, we're going to start looking at doing some objectives and adding objective rules to it. And so maybe make the enemy a bit more unpredictable. That would be really fun. So that's a great idea with the cards. Here's that mission table we talked about earlier. And yeah, with all these combinations, it just so many. I mean, you could just keep playing totally different missions and coming up with it. But what we have done, actually, this is just reminding me here on the insertion chart here, is we've left room in the game for lots of things that we've got planned. So you'll be coming across things like this and wondering why there's no rules attached to it here. But that's going to come later in specific campaigns and expansions and even some of the free rules. So we'll be starting to expand on things like this. So the insertion you take, maybe you go for Halo or small boat, there's going to be a benefit and a negative from it. And that's going to have an effect on the game. So yeah, lots of things like that. We've also got it in the gear, which was pointed out by a couple of people recently of us, and I've got some emails as well about where is it? Here we go. So we've got suppressor. So you can see here the perk is silent. That's not necessarily tied into anything yet, but we'll be using that later on as well. So look out for things like that are all going to be left in there so that we can expand on it later on in some of the expansions. We've got some kind of silence things in Ungentlemanly Warriors, but this is very specific for something we've got in mind later on. So yeah, you probably find a few things like that. So there we've got the design a mission table then we've got all the deployment charts. And so you've got everything in there to create all your own missions. And we've just given a few examples of some missions in the core book just to get you going. But really, we want to see what you're going to come up with. So with all this, it would be awesome to see what missions you're going to be putting together. And it's been great seeing on the Facebook page, everyone sharing their battles. And at the moment, a lot of people are building up their teams and putting their warriors together. So it's going to be great once we start to see more missions coming into play. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then here we've got all the charts then to photocopy and print off. I've been asked a couple of times actually where these are on the website. I must put them up as a single PDF. So if you want to just get a PDF with what you need to print really quickly and easily, I'll put that as an additional PDF. But of course, if you buy the book, if you get the paperback, you get the PDF for free and you could print it from there. But I think it would be helpful to have them. So yeah, I'll do that, add that to the website soon, and the quick references as well. I'll probably bundle those into a quick PDF. So there we go. But here's some little teasers that we built into the main game just to give you a little idea of what's to come. All different themes through different eras. And what we're doing is we're putting the vote onto our Patreon page first. And so they'll get the priority. And they voted for Tour of Duty to be the next one. So we're doing that one next. And then we'll see what comes after that. We'll put the vote out again on Patreon. And we also put it on Facebook. So if it's a tie, then we look to Facebook to decide on the winner, which is what happened here, actually. So that was really fun. So there we go. So that's Rogue Warriors. Nice and simple, concise rules to get playing quickly, learn the rules easily, and then teach them easily too. What have we got here? So will we see any... Yes, definitely going to see vehicle rules written in. So that's going to be in... I'm not sure yet which mission exactly and how we're going to do it, but I've been planning this for a long time with the vehicles. I put together a kind of sci-fi game that included little 4-man teams with a vehicle, and the vehicle has an effect on the game as far as how you insert from speed or firepower and things like that. And so I'm going to be taking the rules I've written for that and then applying it to Rogue Warriors. So yeah, that's going to come into a mission on its own, so they'll focus really on the vehicles, but again, it's going to be designed so it'll work with the core rules, and then you can add it to your own missions and teams that you design. Okay, shall we look at Tiger Blood next? So what I really love doing is taking a movie that I like and then playing it out on the tabletop. I've always loved doing that. It's great fun. And so this is the first example of that. So this is Tiger Blood, heavily influenced by the 1990s movie Navy SEALs. So if you've seen that, then you'll certainly recognize the storyline. Here, the Navy SEALs team go in to rescue some pilots, and then they find some stingers, and then they've got to try and recapture the stingers. So it certainly follows along that. And then with the campaigns, we'll start off with the narrative. So we'll introduce like the different factions. We'll introduce the setting. Here we've made it fictional, and so we've called it Levantia. And then we go a bit deeper on a couple of factions. So we've got the Special Ops team, and you don't have to use Navy SEALs. We do when we play it because we really want it to be exactly like the movie. But we list some of the different Special Ops teams that would likely be involved in a conflict like this. And so you've got US Navy SEALs, British SAS, and the French GIGN there. So we give you a little bit of background, and then we introduce you to a leader. So we've got a character going on. And then we've got the enemy, which in this case are the Taurus Tigers. And then that helped us to get the title Tiger Blood, which ties into Charlie Sheen and the Navy SEALs movie. So background on them, give them a leader as well. So some fun narrative there. And then we introduce the campaign rules. So the mission rules in the core book, that's going to get you going creating one-shots. So you can create single missions and then use these rules to take a number of single missions, combine them together, and then you're going to get different perks and things that you can get from promotions or from winning missions, that kind of thing. And then what we've done in this case for our two different factions, which are players would choose one each. Then we've got the expertise tweaked a little bit. We've added what we call promotions, so you can get a promotion perk as well. So you've got some extra things going on there. And with the specializations, we've added promotion perks too. And so this is the kind of thing we're going to do in all our themed expansions. And then you'll need a platoon sheet. So you take 10 warriors, and from those 10 warriors, for each mission, you put together a 4-man team as you would normally. Equip them with weapons. And so in this case, we've got special ops weapons and Taurus Tiger weapons, all themed. And we've changed the gear a little bit. So for example, with the Taurus Tigers, who are kind of the terrorists, they've got local knowledge, civilian disguises, that kind of thing. So where you'd have a ghillie suit for spec ops, you can have the civilian disguise. It's all themed, makes it really fun. And one good thing with this, if you wanted to, is you could use the solo rules from Ungentlemanly Warriors and then play against, say, the Taurus Tigers as AI. So you could do that if you wanted to and build the teams as it explains in here, but control them using those AI charts. And then post missions is what it's all about. Mission winning benefits, casualty checks, you get badges, which is just for fun. And I'm sure we're going to expand on this, definitely. So this is just kind of cool to give you your warriors little badges when they make achievements. Promotions, we use XP, and then here's the promotion and the different ranks. And so again, we've got 2 different factions, if you like. So we've given them different ranks as well. And then we start the campaign and then the missions. So we go into a campaign, we'll give 6 missions. And the idea with this is you could play this in a day if you wanted to. You could get these games going, get prepped ahead, and you could play them out, no problem, in one day or a weekend of gaming. So that would be really fun. And I suppose if you've got a gaming club that is on the weekend and it's there all day, perhaps you could even do it there or spread it out over a couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, playing a couple of missions each time. And the format now is we go a little bit deeper into the narrative side of things. So each mission will get an introduction. This will set the scene and build on the narrative that we started with back in the beginning. So it'll start to build on this, and then it'll work through a story arc, and then whoever's successful will get a little benefit to take into the next mission. And we'll start playing around with things like this. So here, this is a different shaped board. We're mimicking a big cargo ship. So you're going to board that cargo ship. And so we change the map and add lots of fun things. So we'll get 6 missions all together. And then you get your platoon sheet and everything to print off and use. So that's the format of a narrative campaign. So you're going to get some new rules and things like that included in each one. Let's have a look at the solo next. So this is Ungentlemanly Warriors, the Rogue Warriors solo campaign. Oh, Team Yankee would be... Is Team Yankee 15 mil? Is it? I think it might be. That would be good for... Because with the vehicle rules, as well as having something that's a team that you play with a vehicle, we do want to do something that's like just a bit bigger scale. So you've got infantry and vehicles, and that'll be something later on. Yeah, it is 15 mil. Yeah, thanks. Cool. So yeah, that's going to be a while off, so I don't want to say too much about that. But we definitely want to do something where you can play with a smaller scale and go a little bit bigger. So yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, the TT Combat cargo ship would be good. Definitely. It would be a bit, because it's quite long. I'm sure it's a couple of feet long. So yeah, it wouldn't be quite as big, but it would definitely make for a fun scenario. That'd be awesome to board that and go in it. And you could even go down inside and create maybe like a template underneath. So when you lift the top of the ship off to mimic you've gone down below, that would be awesome. Okay, let's have a look at the solo campaign then. So it's not for everyone, solo or co-op, but I think it's great fun, and especially co-op play. Co-op is awesome, and when you play the stealth mode in this, it's really fun to maybe take 2 warriors each and then decide on your tactics and how you're going to attack each mission and just work through the stealth mode together is great. And then when the alarm's raised, you can just go for it then. Sometimes you can complete the missions without the alarms being raised, which is good too. So there's a little challenge, and you've got the option with solo rules to go only stealth or only alarm or play both phases. And that's something I really wanted to include, so you've got lots of options and lots of flexibility, so you could play it the way you want to play your games. So here we go. So this is not just the solo rules, this is also a narrative campaign as well. So for those that get the physical books, you say you would post the campaign blank sheets. Yeah, I'm going to put those on there. But if you bought the books, if you send me an email, I'll put a link in the description down below. You get the PDFs for free. So if you drop me that email, I can sort those out for you. And that's something we've done that before with other companies. We bought a game and they've given the PDF away, and I thought that's brilliant. I think if you buy a copy of it and buy the paperback, it's great to get the PDF. So we certainly want to do that with all our books. So that just goes for the main book and also the expansions, so they're all covered in that. All right, so yeah, so this is again a narrative campaign as well as the rules. And so we've got the gang, and this is all based on World War II, the SOE, that's the Special Operations Executive. And if you've seen that movie, Ungentlemanly Warfare, that's out, we were really influenced by that. And I read the book by Damien, I can't remember his second name. I'll have to put a comment later on. But we're influenced by the book, which talks about some of the real life missions they went on. And so this is heavily influenced by that. And I thought that would be a great setting to start the solo rules off with, especially the stealthy side of things. Although we can't see the film here in the UK, I don't think it's coming out to the summer. So if you're in the US, I think you can watch it now. It's in the cinema. But in the UK, it's coming straight onto Amazon Prime. So we're going to have to wait till the summer for that. I thought it was going to be released everywhere in April. So I timed this to tie in with the film release. But yeah, we didn't get it here. So that was a shame. But anyway, here's the enemy. So we get some narrative on them and introducing the main bad guy. And then onto the campaign rules. So we're including the search action here that you saw in Tiger Blood. But this is where we really go into the solo rules. So the big challenge here was to keep with that idea of being concise with the rules, but having enough depth so that you get lots of tactical play, lots of options to expand it, design your own missions. And so this took us a while to get this just right, I think, and condensed. Used a lot that we learned from Welcome to Huntsville, Population Z. This is a solo co-op game specifically with zombies where you're playing against big hordes. And so we worked on the solo a lot from that. So we've taken what we learned there and applied it to more of a skirmish player versus player style game. And yeah, hopefully you've been enjoying it. We really love it. We love the stealth and the alarm phases together. And hopefully it comes across in the work that you can, follow those AI charts and things like that. But the activation's fun. We still do the activation roll. So when you're doing the enemy, if you roll a 1 for them, the player chooses. But in the sentry phase, you'll roll 1 to 6, and this will tell you which one to activate. And then when you go into the alarm phase, you'll also be taking on the warriors. They come in as like reinforcements in this campaign. And so that tells you which one to activate. And it just breaks it down here as well. But really, with the solo rules, if you ever think, oh, they'd never do that, then just be flexible and just make the best decision for the enemy that you would do if you were playing them as your own warriors. And this breaks down the sentry phase. And the main thing with this are the sentry cards. So this was really important to try it. Ideally, once you've read this, you're really only going to use these. That's the plan. And it's got all the information on each card that you need. So you've got sentry cards and here the spotting check cards. So it tells you what to do. What's it? Zombie rules in Rogue Warriors. Joe, we are going to do it. We are doing a zombie version. So in Population Z, it's all about taking on massive hordes. And the zombie hordes control the environment. And they almost like all come in, much like games like Apex and Call of Duty Online, where the environment shrinks or the zone shrinks. I don't play it much, so I don't really know the terminology, but it shrinks. But in Population Z, we wanted the zombies to recreate that. So you end up getting loads of zombies, sometimes 50 or more on the table at once, and they start really controlling where you can go and you've got a big fight on your hands. But in this, I wanted it to be a bit more, still have horde options, but also an option where there's not quite as many zombies and you're going up against enemy survivors a lot. So look out for that. It's definitely going to come at some point. We are going to introduce it, and that's going to be really good fun. And there may even be some crossover, certainly in missions, between Population Z and Rogue Warriors. The rules are a bit different, but I think we could do the missions where they could work for both games too. So that could be interesting. But that'll be a while yet. So yeah, but it's definitely going to happen. All right, so we got the alarm phase. And again, with the alarm phase, once you've read through this, the AI charts, hopefully that's all you're going to need. And then once you've read through them a couple of times, played a few games, it should be intuitive. And then you may not even have to refer to those all that often. And then I've got an FAQ page, which I've done here, so you can keep adding notes as you go. But I've also put one on the website. So if you want to keep up to date with any FAQs, that'll be on there. And as it's a theme mission, we've got some different expertise. So now we've got things like espionage, sabotage, propaganda, again, perks and promotion perks. And here we've added the assassin, spy, so some different specializations in there, and a really fun new ability, which is the stealth kill one, which is great if you can get that off in the stealth phase. So yeah, that's good. That's a great rule. That's our favorite. We love being sneaky and going around the battlefield and getting those stealth kills in. Then we're going to build our team. Now what we've done here is we've given a lot more equipment and a lot more weapons to choose from. So with the idea of this narrative campaign is you're planning the same. You take your platoon of 10 warriors, and then you're going to plan your mission. Take 4 of those, build a mission team. But we wanted to put lots more gear in there to represent the sneaky side of things. So you've got camouflage, you've got booby traps, distractions, lots more things like that. You've even got a proper cup of tea in there as well. So it really fits with the theme, and it gives you lots of fun things that you can try and use during the game. The cow drops are cool. You can delay reinforcements if they arrive by vehicle by 1 round. So it's things like that that really tie in and affect the rules, but a lot of it is to add some depth to the narrative and just give you some fun little challenges that you could build in. So you could take some dog biscuits to distract dogs, explosives, and just blow everything up. So you've got loads you can do there. And then post-mission, it's going to be very similar to the layout that we saw in Tiger Blood, but here we've changed the badges and we've changed some of the other rules as well. But these are just more narrative choices that we've done here, but we've introduced this. There could be a casualty of war. So if you roll a double 1, the warrior is removed from the platoon, place another warrior in, but it's prisoner of war, sorry, is the new one. So a 3 or 4, it'll be a prisoner of war. So 1 warrior is captured, and then you might want to go on a mid-campaign rescue mission. So look out for that rescue mission example. That will be one of the one-shots that we'll be bringing out, and that's going to be free to download and give a go. So look out for that one soon. And then on to the missions. And you'll see with the solo missions, certainly with the stealth mode, you're going to get all these coloured arrows. So the idea with these is you check which one it matches. So on your sentry, it matches the caretaker in red. And that's the path the caretaker's going to follow. And then if we flick to the cards, you've got your caretaker card. So it tells you exactly what they do when they're activated. So they're going to carry out a single move action of 5 inches and move from building door to building door. That's in the sentry phase. So imagine you've got the doors on the front of the buildings, and they're just going to keep moving 5 inches each time they're activated, following that path until the alarms phase is raised. The alarm is raised. We move into the alarm phase, and then we do away with all these patrol paths, and we don't use those cards anymore. So once you've got the pattern set up, the idea here is you imagine that the team has done some recon on the area, so they know where the enemy is going to be patrolling and the movements they're going to be carrying out, and then you play amongst that, which is really fun. And then you can do things like blow up towers, and the towers can collapse randomly, and then if anyone's underneath that tower, that's going to take them out, and things like that. And then when the alarm phase is raised. The enemy warriors are going to arrive as reinforcements. They're either going to come from a building, or in this case, they're going to drive up the road and then park up here. And then, so they're going to be right in the battlefield. So they're going to be placed on a train. This is really fun. Or they can come by road, or they're going to be in random buildings. So there's all these different things set up. This would be a great mission to use that cargo ship from TT Combat in. That would be awesome. You could put it here, even bigger. And again, like the way we've designed this is it'll work with the scale and everything. So but if you make the boat a bit bigger, you could just, as long as you put the objectives here, you've got an Overwatch. So you've got to take him out. So if you make a bigger boat, don't put him at the back. Keep him in that kind of position, maybe in the middle of the boat. And then the warriors could sneak up the side and get him rather than up the back and things like that. But it is quite flexible, so you can really use the terrain you've got and make it work. The main thing on the solo rules is it's just strict with the paths and the way we've placed them, and then play tested the missions so we know it works like that. But we definitely encourage you to come up with your own little missions like this and work through different levels of difficulty too. Add more guards, control in different paths, give some dogs, some without dogs and things like that. Because this is really fun. Designing the missions is a great part of the game. And then here we go. Oh, we're in the submarine pen. And that's it. That's the end. This gives you a little teaser about something else that might be happening. You can get an extension for the car. Oh, yes. I've seen that. Make it longer. Yes, that would be good. Yeah, that would definitely be better. And here we got the platoon sheet, mission sheet. Hey, Loxell, you mentioned you're going to UK Game. I was going to go this year and get a table, but we've decided to get a table next year instead now. So we're looking at 2025. So that's the plan. I think by then we'll have developed the game a lot more. We'll have a load of expansions. Well, there'll be another, 12 or 13 expansions by then, probably more than that. And also the other projects we're working on, they'll be released as well. So that's going to be awesome. So yeah, it's looking like next year. So that's going to be fun. And I'm hoping just to go up to visit again this year. The first one I went to was 2023, and that was great fun. It was awesome to see all the games up there. Really good fun. We went for one day, and this year, yeah, we're going to see if we can get up there, maybe do 2 days. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if we're doing 2, but yeah, it'd be good to get up there as a visitor and then next year as an exhibitor. All right. Oh, this is what we've got in for the century phase as well, are these 2 templates. Let me get ones I've printed off. Here we go. So we've got the day and the night. Is there a change for the book in ring binder like the general handbook? We're going to just be printing everything in this style. So this is how we're going to be doing it in the books by paperback with Amazon or PDFs on the website. I think if you've got the PDFs and you could print them off yourself or take them, we've got somewhere called Staples in the UK. I guess they could do it for you as well. So you could get it, certainly get it in a ring binder like that. But we're just going to continue with this format with the paperbacks on Amazon and PDFs. Hey, Robbie, great to see you here. What kind of dice does it use? So it's all D6. So we kept it nice and simple. So you can use whichever, everyone's got D6. Hopefully you can just use whichever ones you've got. We do recommend for the solo rules, though, if you can, getting a directional dice. That definitely comes in handy. But if you haven't got one, you don't need one, because in the book we've included this template, and then you could just roll a D6 and go in the direction. And again, you could just veer off a little bit. It doesn't really matter, but it doesn't have to be so precise. But this will really help. And if you've got a D12, maybe you play other games, then you could imagine a 12-pointed arrow as well to get a bit more precision in the directions. But ideally, a dice like this, even get a blank one and just draw some arrows on it is really good. But these are the templates we put in, day and night template. And the guys at Hayland Terrain have offered to print up some acrylic ones of these for us to try out. So look out for those soon. That would be really cool. And we've put black and white ones in here. We've also done it so that they're at the back of the book with nothing on the other side, so you can cut them out and then use the coloured ones. And we've done that with the cards as well. We've put the coloured cards with blank backs, so you can cut those out too. And there we go, like that. And then you've also got the black and white to photocopy if you want to. But the templates, these are a big part of the game. And this is what I was talking about earlier with commandos. Oh, the D8. Yeah, that's a great idea, Jack. How the D8 points, doesn't it? Yeah, that would be really good. So that would solve the problem really easy. Nice. So we've got these. Let's grab a figure. You might be seeing this guy in action pretty soon. Nice. Right. So you would just, if the enemy, say that's the enemy, they're going to move, and it's important to have them facing forward in the sentry phase and the direction they're moving at all times. And then as they turn, they're going to go like this and then keep walking around. And so it's these templates that are built in to the cards you use during the sentry phase. Let's flick to those. And we try to keep this really simple. Use these, but then link their rules on just a couple of cards. So if, for example, I've explained this in the solo rules, but just to give you a quick example, if you've got a commando who's in light cover, that's going to affect whether or not they're seen by the enemy. And then the enemy will roll a dice, and then it will tell you the result. So are they spotted? If so, raise the alarm. If it's a 2, they're curious and they're going to move a bit closer. Or 3 to 6, nothing's going to happen. Heavy cover, there's less chance you're going to be spotted here, or you're just going to be curious, because the idea is you imagine they're lurking in the shadows. They're like laying down. They've got camouflage on, that kind of thing. So you've got to use your imagination a bit here, but the modifiers will affect the roll. And depending if the enemy's got a dog, if part of the player warrior is in that template, that affects it. You get a -1 to the roll. Is the enemy within 3 inches, in which case they're going to get a better look, maybe even hear them. And then if it is at high alert level, which is tied into the missions. And you can go the opposite way. You can get buffs by the low alert level. Maybe you've got camouflage paint, and maybe you're more than 18 inches away, in which case you're going to hide easier, that kind of thing. So these play a big part. It probably wouldn't hurt to print a few of these off, certainly the black and white ones. Just get a few printed off. If you've got the PDF, you could print loads off in colour too. And then it's good to put them on the table, and you can see as the enemy's moving, all these change. It's almost like spotlights, I imagine it, on the battlefield, which is great. So that's that. And again, you can cut these out. So cool game, adaptable. Just great to see you here, Captain Agrippa. But how many expansions are ready with more coming? I'd have preferred more expensive, fleshed out core book than this. Yeah, we decided the way we did it was all behind that idea of keeping things simple. So nice, simple rule set, easy to learn, easy to teach, and you can get playing really quickly, and you've got everything in there to do that and create unlimited missions. So you could do so much with this. But as the game is developing and we've got lots of stories that we want to introduce, that's why we've decided to do it as expansion. So we're kind of adding the solo rules, and then you've got the first narrative campaign. But we really like just telling stories on the tabletop, and that's why we want to have a series of narrative campaigns. And we could do it where the narrative campaigns don't really introduce any new rules, but we thought it'd be fun to do that and match them to the different scenarios too. Thanks, Gary. Great to see you here. Thanks for coming along. Awesome. Great to see you here, Victor, as well. Thanks so much for getting those books. That's awesome. So yeah, so we wanted to just build it up in layers, because not everybody wants the solo rules, and certainly, we didn't want to build that all in at once. And also we want to develop the game with you guys as well. See the sort of things you like, get your feedback from the releases we put out, see what things you want to introduce to the game, and then we can get working on those rules as well. So yeah, it's a big part of the game is that it's developing. It's going to grow with you. We're going to grow it together. And that's something we've always wanted to do. But we love the narrative side of things and coming up with different stories. Once you've got the core rules weighed up, you could pick up one of these as the book or as the PDF And the PDFs we've priced at $5.95 for the expansion, and even for the solo campaign we kept that as low as we could. And so you can just get that, and then you've got a weekend of gaming for the narrative campaign. Get your mates together, take it to your game club even, and you could get a few weeks out of this. And I think that'd be a real fun project to do. So the expansions are there to just give you more ways to play, but also just to add different stories to the game and keep things interesting and fun and constantly moving forward and evolving. We've got another question from Simon, actually, so let's answer that. And again, if you've got any questions, add them in the chat. And this says, when pinned, it cannot move until after their next activation. Does this mean that the warrior's only options are to aim and shoot or pass, as all other packages involve movement? That's right. So with the game, we really wanted this idea of recreating like a battlefield where you're taking fire and maybe you're having to then like duck down, and so you're pinned, and then you're relying on your teammates to give you cover or to shoot at the person that's pinned you, and so then you can move in your next activation. So we really wanted that to come across in a way that didn't involve you like going prone all the time and standing up and crawling and things. But we really like this pinning mechanic, so we built that in. So it certainly does fix you to one spot. And the game, the core game, is a shooting game primarily. Once you get into melee combat, it gets really brutal really quickly, and one warrior is going to be taken out pretty fast. It's all about using a lot of movement, getting in key positions and working together to shoot. And really important, I think, in the core game, with the core rules, when you're building your teams, it's amazing how much the fire support affects things. So yeah, here we go. Is there a mechanic? Hi Joe, is there a mechanic that you really want in the game but have not figured out a good way to implement it yet? Let's think. Vehicles, the vehicle rule, because we've got a few ideas. We're going to take what we've done for the sci-fi game that we've written but haven't put out anywhere, and work that in. And so we're really playing with that. I think at the moment we've got so many ideas, and we're just like working through them one by one. One thing that really like held us back for a long time were solo rules. That was really hard to get into a way that wasn't too complicated and didn't involve going back and forth to the book, because that's one of my pet hates. When I'm playing a game, I like to be immersed on the table. I hate having to go into the book, check the rules, and then getting back out again and getting back into the game. And so we wanted to create a solo game that didn't require you to do that. And it took us a while with Population Z to get some solo rules down, and then even streamlined even more here. And I think this is where the cards came into play in Ungentlemanly Warriors. But yeah, at the minute, I think there's nothing really that stands out. But a great question, though. And Jack probably go for PDFs. Yeah, I mean, the PDFs, really, with the expansions, we thought the PDFs would be the most popular for these kind of expansions. And at that price point, $5.95, to get like a good day or weekend, even a few games at the game club for $5.95, and for everything that's in it, I think that's cool. And then we wanted to just give you the option in case you wanted the print book as well. But primarily we thought the PDFs would be more popular, but it turns out a lot of people have been getting the books from Amazon for the expansions and everything, and it's not really nice to have them. So yeah, especially when you're playing with other people, you can pass the book around, which I think is nice. And thanks so much to everyone so far who's joined us, bought the books and been playing. It's really awesome. We're so grateful, and it's really cool to see the Facebook group growing as well. And I love seeing all your pictures of your teams that you're putting together and the battles and missions you've been playing. That's been great fun. And so if you haven't joined that yet, the link's in the description down below. And so if you can come and join us on Facebook, we'd love to see what you're up to as well. What else we got? From John, do you visit wargaming shows in the UK? Oh, yeah. Joe, I've only ever been to the Game Expo. That's the only one I've ever been to. That was last year, but I'd love to go to more. Yes, Salute looks really good. I'd love to go to Salute as well, so we'll wait and see. But it'd be really cool to meet people. We'll do some demo games. It'd be really fun. Any tentative release for the NAMI version? Yeah, Tour of Duty, Ken. That's going to be coming out. It's coming out in May. And so we're definitely going to do one a month. That's the plan, but we're not setting like dates ahead. I just find I work better when I've got the date in my mind when I want to get it done. But as soon as I put a date out there, I tend to mess up and not be as creative, almost feeling that pressure kind of gets to me. So I figure I'm going to just aim for one a month, maybe even more, and then we can do the Warriors of the Week, and there's one shots as well on top of that, and that's going to be really manageable. And be like almost like getting a monthly magazine. Get the PDF, and you've got a new fun narrative campaign to play out each month. So that's the idea behind that. No pressure. Yeah, no pressure. Yeah, we can't wait. It's going to be really fun to share that one. And some of the rules are going to be very different as well. And nice, I think, to have that option of the asymmetric teams as well. And also not knowing how many of the enemy you're going to come up against and where they're going to pop up from and that. So that's going to be fun. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. Subscription service. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely. Then I'd have to do it on a date though. So that would freak me out. So I can stick to just releasing them as much as I can. Yeah, that's great. And also the battle reports. So the battle reports start this week, and that's going to be something we want to do regularly. The demo games first, then move into some battle reports. And what we'll do with the battle reports, rather than play the narrative ones, we'll just probably do those one shots, and then we don't ruin the story. So when you play them out, you don't know what's coming when you play them. So we'll probably do it like that. So we're going to tie all these Warriors of the Week. They'll be tied to the one shots, and then the one shot missions will be tied to the battle reports as well. So yeah, really exciting. Lots to look forward to. And there's one character I can't wait. I'm not going to tell you about it now. I'm just going to release it. That's going to be really fun. And that'll be released as a Warrior of the Week with a fun one-shot mission to go with it. And let's see if I've covered everything I was going to cover. So I was going to try and time it together. Yeah, get those one-shots timed about the same time, sometimes before. Yeah, definitely the same time, probably a little bit before to get it out there. So yeah, as soon as you watch the video, anything we're playing in that video, the idea would be you could go and download it straight away. So if you wanted to play it, that's cool. I think we've covered everything that I was going to go through. I think that's it. So there we go. Cool introduction to the books if you haven't seen them before. I hope you've enjoyed having a little flick through. It's been great to hang out with you live. And we should do more of this. I think it would be good. And then maybe I'll plan ahead a little bit more and put it up there so we can get some more questions from the social media as well to include in it. But thanks again to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today, for getting involved and supporting us with Rogue Warriors. It's just so cool. We're having a great time. And the more support we get from you, the more books we put out there. So it's going to be great. And, oh, hey, Ghost. So I'm like, just a quick one. Can Rogue Warriors be adapted for bigger armies, so more soldiers and enemies can be included? Yeah, so we've set it up in the core rules. We go like 4v4. There's no reason really why you couldn't go more 10v10 if you wanted to. That would have an effect when you go into solo for roll into activate, but it wouldn't take much to change that. But certainly in the main game, you could mix it up. And what I was talking about earlier with the 15mm scale, we were just looking at our Flames of War box set, which I think is fantastic. The amount of stuff you get in there is incredible. You get tanks and infantry. And was it John? John, did you comment on Flames of War on Facebook? I can't remember. I think it might have been. But yeah, we're really thinking about having some of those kind of bigger infantry tank games. But that's going to be later. There's a lot more we're going to do before that. But yeah, you can certainly adapt it for bigger armies if you want to. And one thing that does work is if you were playing something with more miniatures, say you've got, I've got tons of Imperial Guard miniatures. So you could have a squad of 4 and just use the rules. So when you build your team, you could say that whole squad is a demolition squad. So they'll move together and they'll follow the rules. So it wouldn't take much to just tweak it a little bit, where you've got, instead of having one miniature, you've got like a squad of miniatures, and then they would have a specialization that applies to the squad. But I think that would be a fun expansion, definitely, later on. But yeah, first up, we've got the Tour of Duty is going to come next. After that, we'll put the vote out again, so we can plan that together, and you can get to vote on Patreon and also on Facebook. Oh, it wasn't you, John. Sorry, John. Thank you. Yeah, so then we'll put the votes out, and then we'll come to the next one. But this is going to give you a little clue, little teasers at the back of each book about just the sort of thing that we've got coming on. So the castle, that would be like dungeons. I'm thinking some dungeon warfare. That's going to be really fun. And just having a read of the comments. Nice one, thanks, Ghost. That would be awesome. Yeah, Ken, that's I like homebrew and stuff, and I really wanted to use this as a platform for people to be able to do that and house rule things and add different things to it and just make it their own, really. So yeah, there's definitely lots of room there to come up with your own rules. But there's going to be loads of different things. We've got like Arctic warfare. This is going to be going in behind enemy lines, kind of rescue mission style with lots of planning. And then we've got urban strike, so urban warfare. Project Dawn is going to be, this is influenced a lot by what's it called, Strike Back. Do you remember Strike Back off the Sky? I think it was Sky, the show was on there. And so they're all over the world going on these different mad missions each episode. So I want something that replicated that. So that's going to be a fun one. Desert Heroes will be the SAS, and I did a video not that long ago. I went through all the SAS miniatures with the Jeeps. So we're going to start seeing like vehicle rules from those. And really, that's just to recreate that series from Rogue Heroes, where they go up the airfield and just take out all the planes and everything with those Jeeps. That was just, what a cool scene. So I want to recreate that on the tabletop. And that was in this magazine, actually. They covered it in here. So if you've got the War Games Illustrated, which came with that sprue of Special Ops Warlord miniatures, they actually show that scene in here. So this was great timing. It's almost like they summed up everything I was thinking about for Rogue Warriors the month after I released Rogue Warriors. And it includes like Special Ops, recreating movies, and then they included the SAS in there as well. So perfect timing. That was great. I've run the Chuck Norris missing in action. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Stargate would work, definitely. Yeah, that would be really cool. So we're definitely going to be doing a sci-fi version as well later on. That's not on here. And sci-fi I was thinking this would be good actually to get your feedback on this. I was thinking, and we were talking, Nicholas and I, and if you're wondering, if you didn't know, Nicholas is my son, and so we work together on the books, and we're a team, so we do all this together. And he's awesome. His imagination's incredible. And then we can just play test as much as we want constantly. So, yeah, really good fun. But, yeah, we're thinking with the sci-fi game, do we release it as a separate book where you've got all the core rules in and then it's all tailored for sci-fi? Or do we just do an expansion like this which changes it up and uses the core rules? So it'd be good to hear what you think about that. But I think the sci-fi would still be very much in line with the shooting, primarily, the player versus player shooting game. But there's lots of other like sci-fi rules I could imagine incorporating into it. But what have we got here? Just bought 2 3-foot square. Nice. Yeah, the sprues were perfect in that magazine. It was such good timing to get that. Amazing. But yeah, I was waffling on a bit there about the sci-fi. But yeah, it'd be great to hear what you think. Do we do one book or just an expansion? Yeah, so it'd be interesting to hear what you think. Ken says expansion, introduce beam weapons. Yeah, that's right. That, definitely. I imagine there'd be like more weapons, like plasma weapons and all that kind of thing as well, for sure. Anvil's great. We've got some of the Anvil miniatures here. These guys. And Anvil's really cool because you can just buy all different pieces, can't you? And then put them together in different ways. So you can just buy a selection of heads, bodies, that kind of thing. yeah, expansion. Thanks, Loxtail and Robbie. I think the expansion would work because all the solar rules as well, that would all port into it then. So I think an expansion would just be a good way to go for sure. Nice. All right, guys, I think that's it. We've just hit an hour, so I'm going to call it there. But thanks again for coming along. Been great to see you. And I'm definitely going to go this time. I keep going to go. But yeah, I'm going to go now. And thanks again. Really appreciate all your support. And it just encourages us and inspires us to keep going, keep making more videos. We're going to definitely keep making more expansions. And we'll catch up with you on Facebook. So thanks again. And we'll see you here for some more live videos soon. And look out this week for all those exciting new things. Warrior of the Week, one-shots, demo games, battle reports, and much more. So thanks a lot. And I'll see you again soon.